Institute for Energy Security. Nana, good morning, and I hope you're well.
Good morning. Good morning, Sam, to you and to your listeners.
Mm.
By grace, we are well.
And of course, I'm sure you've been monitoring the discussions around this whole Energy Sector Levies Amendment Act, especially the one that deals with the energy sector shortfall and debt recovery levy, the one city added, and the decision of government to put on hold the implementation that was supposed to start today. First of all, what do you make of that move by government and the reason they've given for it?
Well, we all experience some positive outlook or happening on the local market with respect to prices over the past few, let me say, months, let's say a month or two. Prices have been dropping consistently or been stable, and that is a positive, news for particularly consumers. That also presents a good, image for the government to be working to ensure that consumers are not burdened. But then, government will do its bit on the domestic market, but the international market, where oil and fuel prices are also determined, government has less control. So the best government can do is to manage its own fiscal space, manage its economy, and particularly the forex exposure, the cedi to dollar relationship, so that the cedi is not weakened against the important currency. If that is made, then of course we have some level of cushioning, even if world market prices goes up. That is what government has been able to do over the past few months. Then comes some happenings on the world market that are possible or some level of negative implications on our domestic fuel prices. So what do? We need to use our fiscal space. We need to use our economic variables to manage that international price exposure. So if the suspicion is that the turmoil on the world market is going to move, or the turmoil on the global stage is going to move international fuel prices and other prices up, then let's use some of the tools at our disposal now to manage. And I'm sure that the one CD levy is part of the fiscal, variables I'm talking about. The taxes levied the margins impact on prices locally. So you either put off the plug, remove some of the taxes, or suspend, a levy that you intend to impose, so that consumers are not burdened on both fronts, both on the local market and the world oil market. So I think that it's a smart move that we are seeing from government to sustain the one city levy.
So you see this as a necessary measure in the face of what is happening internationally?
Of course, that's a smart, move. If the international market is going against us negatively, and we also, worsen the situation, then of course it's not authorized. So the timing of the imposition of the new levy is wrong if they have to. And I'm sure that's where the same time is suspended the imposition.
And I'm sure, Nana, you are watching what is happening on the international market. Should we be scared about that this might get out of hand completely and send us back to the days when we're paying over the top for fuel? Already the prices, even though have gone down, is still relatively high.
Of course, for the consumer, should the issues escalate on the world market, against them badly. But for a country like Ghana, where we benchmark our crude oil sales, we produce our own oil to some extent. If the benchmark price that we take around $70 per barrel, it's anything to depend on, then if oil market prices go up and move from the $67 domain to, let's say, 74, then it is helping government achieve its revenue or inflow intention. But then if it is below the $74, then we are earning less relative to our benchmark price. And we need some of this revenue inflow to also support our infrastructure economic things. And so there's two things. When it goes up on the world market, the country benefits from the sale of crude oil. However, because we still a fuel importing country and a net oil importing country, it will still hit the citizens. And so it is a benefit here, but a loss on the other side. So government, should it go up because of the issues on the world market and tension, government may rake in more revenue, but then consumers will have to pay more for fuel, and that is also a net negative effect. And so consumers should be worried, but government may also be receiving more revenue. But then how do we net off that? Most of the time, if world market goes up, world market price go up, government benefits, but it does not translate directly and immediately to fuel consumers. And so we pray that the issue does not escalate and that the prices stay low on the world market, and we manage our cedi and the dollar, and we make room for our own fuel supply security through entities like Bost and Toll, so that we can benefit from some of these things. Low price on world market.
And you just mentioned Bost. You also mentioned Toll. But let's start with Bost, because strategic stocks have not been in a discussion for some time now. What role can Bost play now, and do they have the capacity to move in and perhaps support if things get out of hand?
I think that the mandate of Bost and Toll is clear. For Toll, for instance, it is supposed to crack crude oil either on their own boats or on tolling basis, so that we guarantee some level of fuel supply and possibly benefit from low prices as well. It's been dormant for close to 4 years, and we pray that it activates itself so that some level of fuel supply security is achieved. For Bost, it's clearly part of their mandate to keep strategic fuel stocks in the country at least for about 13 weeks or 14 weeks. So if there are issues like what we are seeing in the world market, price should shoot up all of a sudden, then the stocks in there, if were bought or secured at low prices compared to today or what we will see in the near future, we can depend on that stock for at least 2.5 months or 3 months, while we look for other ways to manage ourselves after we have exhausted that stock. Today, Bost is not keeping any stock. In fact, they are struggling to even get the can to import oil on their own account. Lecan is the window that is created for you to bring your vessel in, and in some jurisdictions to also go into an oil settle terminal and load. In Ghana, we have both loading and receiving terminal. And so what both need is a Lecan so that they can bring in the oil. This has been a challenge over the past few months. And so we won't get any benefit from Bost today should oil prices escalate, because we don't have, as a country, any strategy to your talk.
I see. But do you see a problem, and I'll land on this note, a problem with, because government will not be collecting that revenue that they anticipate to coming from this to use to deal with the matter of primarily fuel for the power plants. Do you see a challenge arising if they are unable to do that because of a conflict, ultimately?
Oh, also, yes, of course, for fuel for power plants are equally essential to electricity supply reliability. Over the past few months, we've been more reliant on liquid fuel to support our thermal power plants. And so if prices go up on the world market from which we import these oils, then of course we are going to incur more costs in bringing in this fuel. If it's the case that we have some, let's say, $240 million on standby for the importation of this, should world market price go up, the quantity that we even earn from this $40 million, the quantity of oil that we can get may reduce. And that also means that you are starving the thermal power plant of the needed fuel. If that becomes the issue, then you have doomsday issues to contend with.
Well, thank you, Nana, as always.
Thanks for having me, Senator.
And long may Nana live.
Thank you. Thank you, my Lord.
That is Nana AMOASI the seventh, who is Executive Director, Institute for Energy Security, joining us on the line. Always a pleasure talking to him on this issue. He says, and government has indicated themselves. Richmond Roxon just spoke to us, spokesperson for the Energy Ministry, says it means that government will have to find money to pay for the liquid fuel that they are currently using to power the power plants. Nana says there's an increasing dependence on these fuels to power the plants. And there's a need to continue to powering these plants for us to have power. So we all need to, perhaps anything we can do to intervene in this matter to ensure, because this is directly impacting the world. You can already see that the price of fuel are going up. So now it's at $74. It was somewhere a little above $60 last week, towards the end of last week. It's now doing $74. Nana says government's revenue will go up, but there will also be a direct impact on the prices of fuel if this continue. Two institutions is mentioned. Thermal Refinery, they are supposed to crack, what do they call it? The crude oil refining for us to use here. If Thermal Refinery can't get back into business, it will be helpful. And also there's the Bost. They are supposed to keep strategic stocks. If